Thank you. That was great. I love that. And you had mentioned that you will have to often use individuals who may not have an education in the field or any of that, but that you use people who probably have a certain amount of skill sets that you work with. And I'm wondering, you mentioned something about the debate process and the debate towards decision making. And I wonder if you have sort of a model that you teach in your program of how to actually go through that. Is there something you help them know if how to go through the process itself, or do you kind of put it out there that you want the process and see how it evolves?
No, we guide that process. When we start in each country, different countries are set up differently. Vietnam, I don't know how many people have been there, but Vietnam is a very structured society, especially in government. They are extremely efficient at having meetings, and it's just part of their government culture. That's the way in their socialist model. So having meetings and coming to consensus in Vietnam is common, but a lot of time those, in the engineering sense, a lot of those meetings don't include the junior engineers and the artisans, like the machinists. It's just like the management level will have those meetings. So when we develop these products, we bring in the prototype machinist, and we'll bring in the prosthetist and the young engineers, as well as the engineering director, into the same room, and go and then use the meeting process to make sure that everybody. And sometimes you have to guide that. If the machinist initially wouldn't say anything, because it's not his job to decide; it's just his job to make. But we ask for his opinion, and we'll give we'll point to a specific thing that he will have an opinion about, and get him to get involved. So Vietnam has been quite easy to do that. West Africa, on the other hand, West Africa is not similar to Vietnam in the way they're structured. It's very top-down. A big man makes all the decisions, and so we've really had to work hard there to get everybody to meet and to discuss things.
So when you have the facilities where you are making the prosthetics, is that set up through a local partner, or how do you have your facility set up?
Again, it's POF's policy to try to work with the national service, like the ministry that's responsible for rehabilitation, physical rehabilitation. And so we, in Vietnam, we work through, actually it's the ministry, it's a poor sounding ministry, it's the Ministry of Labor, Invalids, and Social Affairs. And so they provide the services to the disabled. So they have a network of workshops and a network of factories. There's 3 factories in Vietnam that produce prosthetic components, and we work with the northern one, which is located in Ba Vi, which is outside of Hanoi, about 50 kilometers outside of Hanoi. When we went into Bangladesh, we did meet with the ministry, but it was a very difficult. I remember that it was just a very difficult situation when we went to Bangladesh. We just didn't get cooperation at the national level at all. And so we chose in Bangladesh to work with a local partner, like a local NGO. And we've done that again in Liberia, the same, with a local NGO, but we just haven't been able to form a relationship with the national level. But we try to do that. As we grow in those countries, we always try to connect with the national organization to incorporate it in.
actually have a question for you. I'm Jay Freistad from the Evans School of Public Affairs, and I'm curious, there's a lot of decentralization of governmental efforts on an international level, and you're talking a lot about implementing on a national level. Is there any difficulties that you encounter for countries who have started decentralization of governments and to reach particular regions where there might be more folks with disabilities there, or is it pretty much a standard model that you're implementing?
Well, I don't, we don't spend a lot of time actually really understanding the way the government wants to do their work. We focus, we are always asked, or we ask, which area do you want us to work in? And we are assigned either provinces or a region. And again, so then we focus on that. We try our best to coordinate with all those local entities in that region. In the planning of the services, I think Vietnam as a country does a very good job of getting those services out, at least in the larger urban areas and the larger populated provinces. In the very rural and remote provinces, similar to what the gentleman said about Cambodia, it's very expensive for the government to provide services to those areas. The travel involved to get out there, like 2 days travel just to get to the town. Between towns, very difficult. So budget-wise, they just ignore it. And so that's where when we see pockets happening like that, that's where we come in and say, look, we have the funds to provide services to those areas. We will do that. And so we assist in kind of filling in the pockets that we know the government is kind of doing. Sierra Leone and Liberia, they are just in their infancy in terms of providing rehabilitation services. It's just after the war, in both countries, it's their civil wars there for 10, 12 years. Those countries were just taken to the ground. I mean, they were just, there was nothing there. I mean, no hospitals, no government services, nothing. And so we started with a blank slate. We just started, they were building a new hospital, and we said, we'll put our prosthetics center. And we had to build a building. Just depends what, and those are the countries that we are really focusing on serving, because we always have to adapt to what the big NGOs like Handicap International, the International Red Cross, some others that are very big, and they go into war-affected countries very quickly, and as soon as fighting ends. So we have to adapt to which countries that we want to send to.